I would love to, maybe I will comment on the first task that you got without hearing what you really discovered. The learning I would like you to take in terms of network intelligence and collaboration for diversity is that indeed to innovate, you need to tap on the resources of people, and the less like you they are, the more chance there is that you will come with new ideas, with unconventional way of thinking, with framing the information that you have in a very new way. But the real secret is that for these people to share with you what they know, to open their world, you need to establish intimacy. And the best way to establish intimacy is to find for things that you have in common. So I hope you, in the two groups, discovered surprisingly that there are some things in common that actually allow you to build this human relation, even online, even with strangers, and in some cases with known strangers, because you've been meeting here for quite some time. But I bet that most likely you did not make an effort to reach offline and then to take a moment to understand what you could do together. So the takeaway from this exercise is, number one, if you want to collaborate for diversity and your network IQ is high, establish relations based on what you have in common, because I bet that with every person in the world, you can find things that are in common. And this is the starting point for building collaboration for diversity. But now I want to hear from you in a very short list about these situations that you witness that performance of teams goes down. And I would love that one person from each group just quickly reports what situations people in your group witnessed.
Maybe I can do it for group one.
Go ahead, Ricardo. Ricardo, you didn't introduce yourself, so just tell who you are, where you are.
Yeah, my name is Ricardo Abdul. I'm from the Netherlands, and I'm based in Eindhoven, and I'm working for one of the largest universities of the Netherlands, Avans University, and I am the director of engineering ICT. And in that position, I'm actually working on innovation and trying to change the educational system a little bit to make it more agile. But it's taking me a lot of time and
a lifetime,
a lifetime of energy and patience. But that's basically also what I mentioned in the group, is that when I try to cooperate with international teams, whether they are remote or hybrid or teams that are close to me, I do feel that there is a different level of commitment, a different level of intelligence, different level of vision. And so the collaboration becomes very hard because we are not speaking the same language. We are actually not aligned with our purpose and our vision. And that brings us back to actually team building again before we start working on our purpose. And I think that's why some members of the team probably will say, I don't feel more energized anymore because we have to take a step back.
Super. So you're saying, Ricardo, that really when you're working with teams who are actually with people who have a similar purpose as you have, in a way, innovating and coming up with new projects and translating knowledge, but you feel that you're speaking a different language, that you have a different vision. So there lacks to be some kind of connectivity, right? Yeah. Beyond the words, something on a tacit level, something on a maybe mindset, something about the understanding that your purpose are actually aligned. Yeah. So you cannot leave your own silos in a way, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. Has COVID changed any of these, or was it before and it just continues? Or maybe it improved some of these problems.
Yeah, increased the problems. Yeah.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I think it made it a little bit more approachable because now you can quickly connect with people, but that doesn't mean that you have a commitment with each other. So you reach out to people faster, but the content and your discussions are not that intensive. So that's what I see, is that people connect and communicate a lot, but we are actually not making steps further into our goals.
Got it. Any other insight, situation, case from group one?
Yeah,
I would add something, but
yeah, exactly.
We were also mentioning that sometimes when you were attending an event in person, everyone had mentally that event as a purpose in mind. So everyone had the same engagement or commitment level. But now, since everything is going remote, someone may join a meeting at 4 o'clock with a very enthusiastic and open availability or commitment. And someone may join the same meeting having had 4 in a row meetings, and you're totally mentally empty to really commit and engage. So that is also, not making it easier on the remote side sometimes, that people are not on the same
So we simply do not see how other people are working, and we should be much more sensitive and empathic to first understand what is their human condition before we just see, the face on the screen. Absolutely. Yes. And what I also witness working with many managers, team leaders, senior executives, is that those people in management positions need to invest time actually in taking a step back, and before focusing on how to get the things done the quickest possible, take the step back and just show a human face. And again, this may sound trivial when you hear this, but when you observe how people operate, how teams function, you would be surprised by how few people keep this in mind, that digital leaders, that leaders of digital, of hybrid teams, need to have different skills, need to have those higher levels of network intelligence to understand that these people are not part of their organizational structures. These people now are stretched, being probably with much more intensity in different network, in different meetings, in different online interactions, because suddenly it has become so easy that we abuse and overuse this possibility. So you as leaders, when it comes to managing yourself as well, okay, being a leader is also managing your own career, your own time yourself. So take a step back and ask, okay, first, does it make sense? As simple as this. Do I want to do it now? Is this the good moment? Is another person in the right condition as an interface to connect? Now, in English culture, in English speaking cultures, there is this wonderful, hi, how are you? And no one listens to the answer, right? You're assuming that this is, as saying bonjour in French or hola, ¿qué tal in Spanish, right? But keep seriously this first interaction, this first appearance. Hear what the other person can say. And sometimes it's not what they say, but try to read the digital body language. For this, you need, again, to be mindful, to be attentive for a moment, to see how this person communicates, if this is the good moment to talk or a wrong moment to talk, how this person communicates the issue or the success. Just some practical hints. How about group 2 now?
I can talk about it. Hi, Daria. Saurabh here.
Hello.
I was late.
Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I was late. Sorry, guys. I'm Saurabh from Strasbourg. I have been in previous Daria's webinars. I'm a big fan, basically, for a while now. I studied science. I studied science, then I was in research for a long time, and then I moved to innovation management, and now I'm a corporate consultant in Paris, but I'm staying in Strasbourg. Advantages of COVID, basically, not only disadvantages. But coming to the points, 2 points that strike out for me in the group 2 was one, that the boundary of home versus work has blurred out for all of us, and to huge extent, this is a major cause of concern when you're working with different teams, because the comfort zone as versus the workplace is not separate anymore, and it's very hard because you are at home and it's hard to navigate between the two, and this clearly reflects on a lot of team members. You can see it very easily. The second point was as Fari pointed out, that if you know the team already, and if you have a common goal, then it should be easy to have a good picture and to have a good team in mind. And this I completely agree with. But a lot of teams nowadays are built remotely. I mean, I was hired remotely. I didn't even sign in person, basically, my contract. And my onboarding personally was extremely tough, because I didn't know anybody, and it was for 1 month that I worked without meeting anybody. It was genuinely tough because you do not have that personal feeling. I mean, when we meet in person, we talk about something called vibe, and you cannot get that vibe from a computer screen. You have the body language that you can see, you see the person facial expression better, and now all you see is a screen. So definitely you do not have that vibe, and this definitely hinders the team formation, and in long run, of course, the task itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Saurabh, I hear from you say that actually what keeps the team performance down is this virtuality, is the fact that in one hand we're opening our homes to people because they see children and dogs and laundry and everything, but then at the same time, you put yourself on hold, you don't open up, you don't build this digital trust, because probably people do not really know why and do not know how to read it. So let me share my screen and comment maybe in a more broad way. Now, I just want to make sure that you see my screen. You do, okay.
We do.
Okay. Now, when we work with corporate teams and with diverse teams, we challenge them on a concept: what is a team and what is an organization? Because when we talk about team performance, very often people think my team, my project team, my functional team is really people who report to me, or people who report to the same person. Now, quite often people today work at the same time in many different teams, and they need to balance the time and be mindful how they invest their time in what. Now, when you look at big picture, beyond what people do to make a living, to perform at a team level, you will realize that their social network structure is that some people communicate on a different level because there's something they share. For example, they are passionate about what could be a passion about yoga, as simple as this, or about frisbee. There is a big community, a small community of people who are very dedicated to frisbee, this sport when you're throwing the disc. And then you can be in two teams, but when you look at the bigger picture, you meet somewhere at a different place, different location, with a different goal. But everywhere, in every social structure, there is this meta structure when you can find people in other teams or in your own team that you can build the understanding at a different level, because there is something deep inside that you care about, or that is valuable for you. So when you're thinking about performance in your own teams, in diverse teams, try to get to know people you've been meeting sometimes for years a bit more. Further, try to understand how they spend time. What do they read? What do they do? What problems they have? What they care for? What is their purpose? And quite often you will be surprised that people have never had time to talk about this, don't know how to talk about this. You may not be able to feel comfortable how to talk about this, but it's just a skill. Network intelligence is just a number of skills put together that help you build your networks fit for a purpose and build this strong sense of a community. Now, how do I do that my slide changes?
Daria, can I add something to?
Yes, please.
I love what you're saying, and I think that you're not alone. Even World Economic Forum is advising that for 2025, one of the top skills that will be required on the labor market are empathy, compassion, and emotional intelligence. And of course, we have plenty of engineers, which are amazing and very practical and structured. But of course, there is another part of the brain, which is the more emotional brain. And then we need to match these skills with another type of emotional needs. That's it. So thank you.
Catalina, thank you for this comment. I love and I recommend to everyone the report at the World Economic Forum published last year on the future of work, with the top skills for 2025, and with a stunning statistics, if I remember well, that over 60% of workforce will need to be reskilled within the next 24 months. Sorry, I don't have the data in front of me, but this was a huge part of the working population. And actually, out of the top 10 skills, indeed, except for 2, the rest are related to thinking, to feeling, and to managing. Now, we will be coming to the end. So let me just summarize this session, how you collaborate for diversity, building networks fit for a purpose. So you know well the existing frameworks. The design thinking helps you identify the problem a person, a company, customer, users, hospital patients have. You build on empathy, you define the problem, you ideate solutions. And then if you're an innovator, an entrepreneur, most likely you will go through a failing fast model that is the lean startup, and you will build, measure, learn, fail fast, and reiterate, right? When you're coming to the prototype that works, you will really try to think how you can improve the product and scale it up. And really the agile way is the fastest way to keep the remote team or diverse teams, hybrid team deliver. And I love all these methodologies, but when we were thinking about what is missing, is that, okay, you understand the problem, very good. You tested the solution, fantastic. You have a great team who could execute and deliver the service, and so what? And we've witnessed a number of great accelerators, innovation centers, different research labs, corporate, private, where people come up with those great ideas and with the capacity to scale up, and they cannot do it. And we believe that really helping people build the purpose network fit, so the networks which are fit for a purpose, is the right way to do it. And our competency framework is really the bunch of skills you need to learn as a team, as an innovation team, but we also have this process, and we've been fascinated seeing how people can improve over a short period of time and become much more confident and successful when they put some strategic thinking into how to build their human social ecosystem around them. This is all I prepared for you. If you would like to ask any questions, I'm happy to take them. And I want to invite you for our last webinar within this series on network IQ and influence, which will be mid-May. I would love to take at least 1 or 2 questions. Isabel, go ahead.
Not exactly a question, but a comment, because I think we lack of training in general for indeed lead remotely our teams. So in general, not only the human aspect to understand what they are transmitting to us through the screen, but also how to keep people engaged or the team engaged all over the week or the month. So I think I feel the lack of training in this sense. And nowadays, everything is on remote, and people are a bit lost on how to lead the team in this with a proper methodology.
Yeah, Isabel, this is a super interesting issue, because actually the data shows that the last year was a big rise of employee engagement. But what happens then is when you go high because there is emergency, there is solidarity, then it all implodes. People are just burnout. And then it really takes advanced skills to keep people committed and keep people engaged. I'm very happy to take this conversation offline and see how we could help you. But definitely, yes. So don't get discouraged. It will level out. But it's good that when it implodes on a personal level or on a team level, it requires a bit of skillful thinking and doing from the leadership to keep the performance high.
Nice, yeah, for sure.
Any other questions? Listen, it's been absolutely a pleasure to see you. Let me just say that with pride that we're finalizing as a science-based startup, we're finalizing our first stage of developing the solutions. We are working now with the data that we've gathered through our programs, through the Network IQ global database, and working on a article which will disclose more what we learn, what are the challenges people have, and how they possibly could improve their performance and their level of innovativeness when working in very diverse teams and when building their ecosystem, this digital ecosystem. So stay tuned. Maybe next month we will be already in a position to share with you a draft. And we are, just the last announcement, we are looking for research centers, innovation labs, accelerators, investment companies who would like to test our methodology to keep their managers more effective as leaders.
Daria, I mean, I cannot comment on. All the best. I mean, I'm sure this is gonna fly because I'm a big fan personally. I'm really a big fan. But I mean, you know this already, but I am. But what I can propose you is, or invite you is, because I moderate panel discussions for corporates basically, and these are sometimes CVCs, sometimes investors, depending on different areas, and the one that I am planning for in 2 or 3 months would be on open innovation in corporations basically. And I would love to have you as a panelist basically in a panel discussion, and you can talk about basically
the network intelligence.
yeah, I mean, yes, totally. This would be super cool. I mean, I would love to invite you for it, and yeah, I mean, let's take this offline and
yes, let's take this offline and we talk. Thank you very much for thinking about it.
Hi, Daria. I will be able to recommend your methodology to Philips Research and CTO if I have somewhat more information, for instance, the article that you mentioned. So I'm really willing to support you in that.
Ferry, this is fantastic, and thank you for being so diligent and coming to every webinar.
Yeah, by the way, I have also, I don't know whether you know this book, it's New Frontiers in Open Innovation. It was published in 2014, and I was co-author of one of the chapters in there, in which cooperation between suppliers, partners, companies, universities, and so on was analyzed quantitatively on a large number of projects. And it demonstrated that within certain boundary conditions, open innovation can really work. So there is also research and statistics which demonstrates in the end that this kind of approach pays off.
Super, Ferry. I will reach out offline to get details of the book, and I'll be super happy to read it.
Okay. Yeah.
Super. Thank you, Ferry.
Okay. Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear network thinkers or digital innovators, if someone called you, I want to thank you very much and see you next month.